Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. It is coffee time with Coach Ja. Obviously, I am not in my normal space. Today, I'm actually in the office, right? Which is a good thing. New vibes, new energy, right? Not there's nothing's wrong with my other place, but it just is what it is. But I'm hoping that you are having an amazing morning. I hope you're prepared for this day. Whatever you need to do to prepare for this day, I suggest you do that. Whatever you need to keep your space and your energy safe and that you can focus on your today, I want you to do that, whatever that entails. Now, don't go hurt nobody. I'm not promoting that. I have nothing to do with that. But I suggest whatever makes you happy and allows you to be in your great space, in your great moment today, I want you to have that. So please, by all means, step out, get out of your own way, and make today an amazing day. And I'm not spending a lot of time talking today because I really want y'all to meet my guest, my friend who's in the building. And I'm sure y'all gonna have questions and we're gonna laugh and talk about all kinds of stuff. But welcome to this platform, my dear friend, Dani Cook. Dani, what's good?
Hey, what's up, Ja?
It has been a long time.
It
I
has.
probably haven't seen you in 5 years.
Hmm, close because I left Charlotte in 2016.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
and 2016 was my first Southern Fried that I went to, and I know I hadn't seen you since then. So yeah.
no, yeah, it's been a whirlwind the last 4 years. So it's been a minute. So, but
Yeah.
I'll be trickling back down to NC soon and visiting and that sort of thing. So
Well, when
ready
the
for
world
that.
opens up again, I'll bring you in for a feature. You know how that works. I
Oh
always.
yeah. I'm ready for the world to open up, but not quite yet. I need us to get rid of the Rona.
Yeah, they just shut Charlotte down, like, starting again today after 10 o'clock. It's shut
Yeah.
down again, and so I'm not really, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Go
before we even begin, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and yeah, let's just conversate. Let's just
Oh
make it
my
happen.
gosh. There's a lot of that. Okay, so I'm Dani Cook. Some people know me as Dani the Poet. That goes all the way back to 2009. You know who gave me that name, right?
Who?
Big Pretty.
I knew. You know what? I knew you was gonna say Tavis. I knew it. I don't know what. I don't know if I've heard it before, but I knew that you were gonna say Tavis.
Yeah, Tavis Brunson. So that's how I met Ja, and doing poetry in Charlotte and that sort of thing. I'm also a certified life coach with a specialization in communication, breakdowns, trauma, that sort of thing. Um, I'm also an advocate, specifically focused on healthcare and that sort of things. But we'll definitely take on a corrupt politician or two for any good reason. Um, let's see, what else do I do? Oh, I'm a digital marketing expert. So let me just say this, with regard to marketing. I've been in the game since the game was a game. Like I literally was. When the internet came about in 2000, I was already working in the yellow page industry, and then went into this is when people were just happy to pay per click. And then it was about, okay, so then we needed leads and whatever. And so I do everything from emails and writing copy and content writing and landing pages and Facebook ads and all of that. I choose who I do it for these days, because if it doesn't move me and melt my heart, I don't really want to do it. So I really want to focus on people with minority businesses, or women, who are also another group of minorities, and for causes that mean something, that will impact the world. So that's my focus there. So the idea for me these days is to continue to kind of grow in my own thing. So we'll talk about some of the things that I have. I'm kind of excited. I am like this close to finishing this new project that I'm stupid excited about. So we'll talk about that too.
Yes, we can talk about all the things. Today is about you. It has nothing to do with me. I'm just here.
Oh, and this is T. He was right. This is T. It says Soul Sisters right there. And then it actually says Love and Light right there.
Wow. Is that your cup or your design?
No. So this was Amira.
Yeah.
That's my sister. And so for her birthday celebration, a couple of years ago, all of us that came in, she gave us mugs. And so these are our sisterhood mugs. And but yeah, so no, there's some good gosh, what's in here? Some cloves and cinnamon and ginger and honey and lemon balm and boneset and burdock root and dandelion root.
Oh, so you're coming up to life right now. You're waking up everything right now.
Yes.
She
That's
said
the
sleep,
idea.
sleep
Yeah.
is over at this point.
Yeah, that is the idea. No sleep.
No sleep. So I remember I wanted to, because this kind of gives people an idea of your person, who you are, right? And I remember there was a time where you basically went and stayed in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell, because there was ups and downs, there was so much with it, right? What was the motivation behind that? Like, what made you decide, you know what, this is what I'm going to do? Because I don't think people understand the depths of that. And for someone to not have to do it, to say, you know what, I'm going to see what this experience is. So tell them what prompted that, what made you do that, and then how did that make you feel?
So in 2014, when I was still sitting in corporate America, I was sitting at my desk one day, and someone had shared a video from the original Free Hugs. So a lot of people think that Free Hugs is the black dude with the t-shirt. No, he's not. He's not it. The original guy is a guy by the name of Juan Man from Australia. And if you go to YouTube and just look up Free Hugs official video, then you'll see the video. So but anyway, I watched this video and like it brought me to tears. And I was like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this in Charlotte. Who's in? And literally that was April 2014. 3 weeks later, the Saturday before Mother's Day, several of us came uptown and had t-shirts and signs that just said Free Hugs. And that's how that started. Yeah. So over the course of 2 years or so, being uptown, trade and try on, you get to meet a lot of the folks who are homeless. And so I got to know them, got to know their names, that sort of thing. And, gave some money out here and there, whatever. And then in 2016, we had gone out, and it was October 2016. We had gone out and done a Free Hugs, and it just didn't feel right. I was like, okay, there's something I'm missing. What is it? And normally I don't go out and do it by myself, but I got this nudge to go back out the next day, that Sunday. I went out 2:00, and there is a transgender Hispanic female, Jocelyn. I think that's her name. And when she is sober, she's really nice. When she's an alcoholic. And so when she's drunk, she's really mean. And she was wasted this Sunday when I saw her out there. And there were a couple of guys that I had never seen before. So I stopped because I wanted to make sure she was good. You know what I mean? And then I got to talking to those two guys. And one of the guys looks at me and he points at my sign and he says, "Is that for real?" Because my sign said Free Hugs. And I said, "Yeah." And he said, because I could really use one. And I said, "Well, come on up here and get you one." So he comes up and hugs my neck. And he just cried, right? And so I started talking to him. The other guy that was with him was new to the streets. He'd only been homeless for like 2 weeks. And I talked to them for a while. The original guy told me he was going to go to rehab. You never know if they're going to or not. Turns out he did. He went the next day. But the guy that was with him, I asked him if he wanted something to eat. And I took him up to Libretto's up at the Epicenter. And we shared some pizza and talked. And that was when I first understood the challenges of being homeless. So like he had lost his wallet. And even though Urban Ministries has a thing where they'll go and help you get your ID, they only do it 1 day a week, right? So, if they do it on Tuesdays and you lose your wallet on Wednesdays, well, your ass is just out of luck, right? That's when I learned, how big of a commodity sleeping bags are, the challenges around what do you do with your belongings if you go do day labor, that sort of thing. So I went home that day and went on Amazon, and I was blessed to find some sleeping bags. Matter of fact, there's 25 that just got delivered to my apartment. Yes, this week. They're here right now. I could pull up boxes of sleeping bags because I'm doing the same thing here. See, okay. There's 25 sleeping bags. Those are individually wrapped. But so long story short, we gave them out, and I introduced him to one of the homeless guys that I knew, Mike. He's the guy who ended up coming to live with me. Two of them did, but Mike did. And so over the next 4 to 6 months, every month we took out backpacks full of supplies and sleeping bags and socks and hygiene kits. And by the end of January, I felt like I needed to really understand, because it's one thing for me to understand for an hour or two while I'm out here giving you some stuff, but what is it really like?
Yeah.
And so I asked permission. I said, hey, guys, do you care if I come spend the weekend on the streets with you? And they said yes. And so I did. I showed up. I took a sleeping bag, a backpack. I didn't take a coat because they didn't have coats, so I just layered up. I took $20 in cash and my IDs in a Ziploc bag in case an emergency happened. But other than that, I took no money. I took nothing. I didn't even take my car up. I rode the light rail up and had a friend drop me off at the light rail. And I think that weekend, the lowest, it was like 27, 25 degrees that weekend. We slept under the awning of the United Way. Wow. And yeah, that was their spot. And it was a really interesting weekend to, because that was the first time I found out how bad of an alcoholic Mike was. And I don't know, it snowballed after that. Within a week, his colon ruptured and he was in the hospital and was having a wound vac, and he would have had to been separated and go to some like not really great facility. So I brought him and Mark to live with me in my guest bedroom, and two of the students from the early college high school. They had an extra twin bed, one from their granddaddy and one from their grandmama. And then I bought, I bought some stuff off Amazon. And then, so for 6 months, almost 6 months, we went through 5 surgeries with Mike. I cleaned his wounds and changed colostomy bags and all that sort of stuff for 5.5, not quite 6 months. Wow. And that was shortly before I left Charlotte.
And so, and the reason I said that is because people don't understand. Since I was a kid, I talked to people who lived on the streets in New York City. It was to the point where they would see me. There's a liquor store in Brooklyn that they call Hollywood, right? And everybody come and they get their wine, no matter what the temperature is. They get their wine. They meet up at Hollywood and just drink until they stumble off to wherever they're going to sleep for the night. Gotcha. And they have a big steel barrel with the wood inside, and the wood's burning. They're keeping warm. And they used to actually offer me to buy me a soda. And I was like, no. And they was like, why not? What's the deal? I'm offering to buy you a soda. And so they'd be drinking their wine, I'd be drinking their soda. And my brother Witz used to be like, bruh, you really be out there? And I said, because when you spend a moment in their life, just in their space for 5 minutes, you forget they live on the streets. You forget all of the things that you might normally turn your face towards them, like, I got to get away from here. And those people, their stories are so rich, and they're not shy for telling. And we don't spend enough time in their space. And so I wanted people to realize, not everybody does it. I have not done what you've done. And I wanted to make sure people understood that's the person that you are. And so go ahead.
To me, it's not a big, I don't know what that's supposed to say about someone. All I knew is that it was what I was led to do at the time. And, it turns out a lot of like what Mike said to me ended up not being true. None of that's even relevant. It doesn't matter. People will say to me, well, some people choose to be homeless. And this is my response. Where do you have to be in life for that to be your choice? Like, let's just say that that's what I am choosing. What does that say about my wholeness and my health and my well-being and my self-worth, if that's what I'm choosing? I witnessed people, I witnessed us ask people, hey, do you know what time it is? And people ignore you. They will not even tell you what time it is because they're afraid you're going to ask for money, right? It was nuts to experience that experience. And then the year prior to that, not year prior to that, I'm lying. It was in December 2016. I went through a lot of significant stuff because that's when I went to Standing Rock.
Yes.
And,
Uh-oh. Okay, you're back. Okay. It was freezing for a
I'm
minute.
back. Yeah, it froze for a second. But that's when I went to Standing Rock, was in the beginning of December of 2016.
Mhm.
And that experience for me changed everything. It made me want to live big, and I'll tell you why. Real quick. So when I went to Standing Rock, when you go to Standing Rock, I pulled up. We drove cross country from Charlotte to North Dakota with my daughter, and we drove up. We go to camp, and when we drove up the what we call Flag Row, it had all the flags from all the Native American tribes just lining the street as you drive up. Gorgeous. And we got there late in the evening, and so we pull up, and they have their own security, their own whatever. We pull up at camp, and the woman who greeted us, I rolled down the window, and she said, "Is this your first time, or are you returning?" And I said, "This."
Uh-oh.
Me off. There you go.
I don't
You
know what
put me
just happened
backstage
here.
for
We
a
have some
second.
technical issues, right?
But I said, "This is my first time." And she looked at me. Keep in mind, this is a Native American woman. She looked at me and she said, "Welcome home, sister."
Wow.
Right? And the next morning you go to orientation. And in orientation, they talk about a lot of different things, but they talked about 4 things, right? And these 4 things were amazing. So they gave us 4 principles. And one of them was to be indigenous centered, which in that arena, in that area, what that meant was, before you ask, "Can I touch your hair?" or "Can I touch your garment that you've made out of animal hide?" Before I go to approach an elder and ask for wisdom, and I don't offer tobacco, I need to be indigenous centered. I also need to keep in mind that anytime Native Americans have opened up their land to outsiders, it hasn't ended well for them, right? So be indigenous centered in the way that you approach them. And now that you can take that into everything that we do. So if I'm going to have a conversation with someone who's disabled or who's homeless, I need to be homeless centered. I need to be disabled centered. I need to be, black skin, brown skin centered. Because then if I am centered, if I try to embody or relate or connect to your experience, then I have a better chance of understanding where you're coming from, right? So that was lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 was my favorite, and this one was a game changer for me. It's take up space, and this is what they said: if you're going to be here, like, don't just come to Standing Rock to take a selfie and say, "I stand with Standing Rock," but if you're going to take up space here, then really embody the space that you take up. Right? So volunteer, get your hands dirty. Like I volunteered in the medical facility. I literally got to, and it was an honor. I'm not kidding when I say this. I got to treat the frostbitten feet of an Apache elder, right? Who'd been on the front lines. I helped staple a woman's head shut, right? Who'd fallen and hit her head on the ice. But I got to take up space. So in life, in everyday life with each other, are we taking up space, like fully embodying this space and being impactful in what we're creating? The third lesson was, we're creating a new generation, right? One of the elders, he had been sick, and he came out and he was talking, and he said, "I've been sick for 2 weeks." He said, "And I was nervous when they invited everyone to come in this weekend because I did not know who was going to show up." And I went the weekend that other veterans like me went. I'm a disabled veteran. And so like 4,000 of us showed up that weekend. And he was like, "But I look out and I see white, I see brown, I see black, I see red, I see yellow." And he was like, "We're creating a new generation where our generation has to let go of how we feel about the transgressions that have been done to us, right? And the new generation, we got to build something new." So that was the third one. And the fourth one was, take it home. The lessons that you learn here, take them home. And when you go home, find out whose land you're on, right? Give honor where honor is due. So those 2 experiences within 4 months of each other were very transforming for me. And then that was part of what led me to living outside of a hospital for 257 days last year.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Like I said, I've been disconnected from you, so I did not know that. Wow.
So I led So they created a medical monopoly here, back where I'm originally from in Northeast Tennessee. And when I say it's a real it really is a medical monopoly. Like, they had to change laws to make it happen. It violates the Tennessee Constitution. It was a bunch of corrupt politicians and dirty corporations. It was all about money. You can find it. All you have to do is Google Dani Cook ballot health, and you'll find a bajillion. So like, I got a reporter from the New York Times did an article, LA Times did an article, Modern Healthcare did an article, but I was leading this protest and educating people about what was happening and getting people. And we collected 30,000 signatures from local residents, like, against what was happening. Like I went to the FTC, hand delivered them to Congress. This was all in 2019. And when they were still gonna, so the way that it started is my grandbaby Bella. So for y'all who don't know, I'm like Ja, I'm almost 50. And and I have 2 beautiful grandbabies, a third one on the way. And my second grandbaby Bella was born at 26 weeks, 1 pound, 3 ounces at birth. She spent 91 days in the neonatal intensive care unit. And basically what happened is a couple of nurses reached out to me and said, Dani, they're going to shut down our NICU. And it was the NICU that saved Bella's life, right? And they said, we don't know what to do. And they said, well, we don't know anybody else, because I have a pretty decent social media following. And they were like, we don't know who else to reach out to. And I was like, well, shit, I can do something. I'll shake some trees and bring some awareness, we'll do some lives. And it became, when I realized how wrong it is, this is an area that is economically impoverished. It's 20, 30% poverty rate is common, right? In almost every area here. And people here are not stupid, they're simple, right? And there's a difference between stupid and simple. Simple people just expect you to keep your word. They just expect you to do what's right. And instead, people were lining their pockets and giving them shitty healthcare in return, right? I sat with families last year whose loved ones died as a result of changes that they've made here, right? So I bought into this idea that whatever I could do is what I would be willing to do. And I did. I gave up everything. I lost everything. I lost my car. I lost my life. I moved back here from Atlanta. I was living in Midtown Atlanta. I moved back here to the damn country. It's 91 to 97% white here. Oh, so wow. Yay. I love you white people, but I'm just saying I need people like me. Just saying, there ain't no damn poetry happening here. And when the state of Tennessee just refused to hear the people, Ja, I didn't know what else to do. So May 2nd, 2019, I packed a backpack one more time and a sleeping bag and took my ass outside of Holston Valley Medical Center. And I ended up staying outside on the right of way for 257 days. I stayed out there until January 13th, 2020. And every day we would have an average of anywhere from 10 to 25 people every day that would come out and join me. And we had a core group of about 4 or 5 of us that were there 24/7. Wow. So 257 days, long time.
That is a long time. Mm-hmm. That is some hot and cold nights.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was very cold. And then, and so now I'm rebuilding life, right? So now I have a couple of marketing clients, a couple of coaching clients. Yeah. Just bought a car to replace the one that I had. I worked my ass off for 6 months and saved up some money. And did that. And it's all good, because here's the thing. You can rebuild credit. You can buy cars. You can fix that shit.
Yeah.
But you get one chance to become and give the best version of you that you can in this lifetime.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm bought into, right?
Yeah.
I mean, whether I make a million, a billion, or a buck,
You have actually, and so first, salute for your time, for your service to the military.
Thank you, baby.
I always say my grandfather and 3 of my uncles, basically their whole career was the military. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful for those who actually were on the front line and had sacrificed all that you all have done. And in part of that, and it's my belief, when you go into the military, you go with the idea of helping, right?
Mhm.
In whatever aspect that is. And it proves within your work. And I think if I'm looking at your whole story, that was your heart has always been what it's been, right?
Mhm.
Regardless of what you've been through, that's how you're built. But
Mhm.
I think your sacrifice in the military made it easy for you to make those decisions that other people like, I can't do this, I can't give up this. And I
Mhm.
think that's like, so that's a hero, right? And I know you, and I know you don't do that for accolades and all that stuff. I like,
Yeah.
so just so y'all know, Danny's not the one to do a whole bunch of celebrating shit. Don't celebrate all this shit. Just help me. That's her thing. If you're going to celebrate me by jumping in line and let's get to work.
Right. Yeah. Like you
You're
want to
not going
celebrate
to
some
cuss
shit.
me
Look,
out right
I
now.
can give you a link to the Mylar blankets we bought. Like we gave out 25 backpacks here last week. Because this region is different. Like our homeless population here, the drug of choice for those who do use is meth, which is like to me the worst choice, right? But it's cheap,
Yeah.
and this region has been hit really hard with it.
Mhm.
And to be frank, like I don't intend to be here. I don't know. By next summer, I'm most likely I'll be back in Charlotte. That's the
Come
that's
back.
the
You
that's
coming
the
back, and I'm
thought.
gonna end up leaving and shit. I'm gonna be.
Yeah, see, yeah, no, but because my work will be done. And I think that's the thing that we have to realize is that sometimes we don't do because we're attached to the outcome,
That's it.
right? So if I only am willing to do something if I'm sure it's going to end this way, or if I'm sure it's going to produce this result, that's not how it works, right? You do the work, and here's what you trust. You trust that whatever manifests, whatever comes out, is what's needed for you, for your growth, right? Whatever lessons you need to learn. Because you know what last year taught me? God's got me. Like in terms of provision, in terms of whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like I'll be good,
Yeah.
right? Man really has no say. Like if an employer looks at you and says, I pay your bills, no you don't. You are a conduit through which the universe blesses me. And if at some point you decide you don't want to be part of that flow, that's okay. Somebody else is going to come in and be part of that flow. um you know, I would say this is definitely who I've always been.
Mm-hmm.
The things that have been different is when I gave up a strict religion, and my religion is love, right? And and when I allowed myself to really start to find what works for me. So,
Mm-hmm.
like on my shelf, you'll see a Bible, but you'll also see some other shit that might have you be like around here. But it's all good. Like what I hope is that we can all transcend these labels and things that have us separate, and understand we're all speaking the same language, if the language we're speaking is love, right? Like if your religion makes you come from a place of love, then I'm good with your religion. Now if your religious beliefs or your spiritual beliefs or your practices cause you to do harm and fill you with hatred, then I'm going to question your belief, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's coming from love, it's all gravy. It's all good for me.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Listen, there is so, and so I know people are leaving comments, but we'll get to that, right? There is so much magic, and so before I met you, I heard of your name. I've heard you through other poets. Because remember, I was new to the poetry scene because I was doing, we did reggae parties. That was it. So most
Yeah.
people knew me in Charlotte from
Okay.
right, right, right. And so I don't even remember how I heard, but I remember reaching out and I was like, listen, I want you, because I wanted you to host with me.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? And then somehow I lost connection. And anyway, what I do appreciate is that when I put my hand out and I say, hey, listen, this is all I got. This is what I'm trying. What's new? You jumped at it. And I want to say your feature was one of the most packed events we had up there to that time. Like you filled the place with people who came to see you. And I was like, where the hell all these people been at for the past year? I've been trying to pack this place out. But I will say that the energy that you've always brought has been amazing. And when you say your religion is love, and that's the one that you practice, I can believe that. And I could believe that, not think about it, haven't seen you in years, right? And
Mhm.
just being able to peek in on what you've been doing throughout your life from the time that you said, okay, I'm moving to Atlanta. Hell, I didn't even realize you in Tennessee now.
Yeah, yeah. I left Atlanta to come back here to do this.
Yeah.
Because I needed to be a Tennessee resident to FOIA all their stuff that I was FOIAing. But like we did major shit though. So like, did they close that NICU? They did. But guess what? They all the core politicians that created this thing, not one of their asses got elected this time.
That's
We
it.
raised so much awareness about them. Their names are mud. The Republican caucus was calling people saying, will you vote for a candidate that, that is part of ballot health? Will you vote for a candidate that is connected about, like they were asking those questions. See, when you show up in such a way that now they want to know, well, will you vote for people? Like when you can impact like that's, it may not have been what I like the entire outcome, but it will happen. It's still, change is still coming. Like you sow seeds and you just trust. What I know is I can't out harvest the universe. Like I can't, right? So if I just sow the seeds, I ain't got to worry about nothing.
Uh-oh, we lost her. Hold on. It's spinning. She's got to come back. She'll be back. I told y'all that I have an amazing guest coming up. It kicked her out somehow in a way, but she'll be back, I'm sure. And like I said, I met her years ago, and she didn't hesitate. She was like, "Look, I'm all in," and I'm glad she made it to the show. Hopefully, she'll be back in a second. But yeah, I don't know what happened. On fire, absolutely on fire. And how many of us will be able to do such a thing? Right, to just give up everything and just start over. I don't know, but I'm glad you're back.
And it said, this may be a problem on our end. And I was like, well, shit, it ain't me. It's good. But anyway.
I want to make, do you know AJ Houston?
Mm-mm.
He's an old school poet, but we have a show on Thursdays at 7 p.m. It's called 10 Times Now. And everything now is 10 times as big as you think it is, right? Or as small as it might be. And so we're looking to have those political talks and talks about, because our idea is, why don't we have schools that teach people how to be governors and senators? Why are we not taught these things? And I'm sure on a political level now, you could probably shed some light on some things. So I'm definitely going to reach out and get you on the schedule. I know it might be weeks from now, but that's fine.
It's cool. I like, the political thing, because everybody wants me to run for office and I don't want to. I don't want to. People here, the only temptation I've had is to run for governor of Tennessee, only because I can't stand Bill Lee's ass. I can't. He doesn't do anything for the people. Just another a rich. Anyway.
Right. We know that. We got that part.
Yeah, I can't. But here's the thing. Because to me, so like if you go into Congress, you are one voice in a sea of so many others, right? And what I love about my journey and what I do is I get to help other people find their voice, and I get to unify the voice of the masses for certain causes. And that has produced more change than just one vote that I might have. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would rather help other people who want to run for office, who got their shit together, who have good hearts. I would rather help write ad campaign content for you. I would rather help interview you on my Facebook Lives and let 10,000 people meet you. I would rather do those types of things. And so Dasana Hanu, and I have always had this conversation because he's big about changing the system, right? Change the judicial system, the criminal justice system, change, the governmental system, education system. And I agree. And here's what I know. If you change the system, but you don't change the hearts and the minds of the men and women running the system, it does no good. Because here's what we know, right? We changed the system with regard to racial inequality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we? Right? We can vote. But what did they do, right? They redlined and changed some damn districts and, closed your polling locations. They was like, okay, nigga, you can vote, but let me just show you I'm gonna make it a little bit harder for you to do so, right?
That's right.
So it has to be a joint approach. When we approach these things and do we need and desire to have different people in office? Yeah, we do. We also want to impact the people who are currently there. And how do we do that? So I have this belief system that says the more connected we realize we are, right? That's the key. Connectedness is the key. Because if I know that I'm connected to you, and if in my conversations with you, I can see a part of me in you, then that means I am less likely to hurt you. I am more likely to hear you. I am more likely to respect you, right? It is hard to hurt someone who resembles you.
That's true.
So if in every conversation I attempt to find me in you, then that creates this commonality that, that prevents unnecessary and undue harm. Yeah. So like, that's why I have the 2 books out now. I have a 3rd book that will be out in January. And then I literally am like, I have 6 more pages to write. So let me just tell you this right now. So if you are on this call and you are like devoutly religious, I welcome you to just keep an open mind. So what I wanted to do was create a card deck that transcends all major religions and helps us get connected and get connected to Mother Earth, get connected to God, our creator, get connected to each other, get connected to ourselves. And so it's called the Connect Deck. Wow. And so literally I drew every image that's on these decks. And then I uploaded them into a graphics program and applied graphics to them. And then I wrote the guidebook to go along with them. So like, I don't know, am I able to share my screen?
I don't know if
you don't know. Let's test it and see if it works.
Yeah.
And I'll show you I'll just show you one.
Absolutely. And definitely, where can they find it? What's your website?
It will be out. So you can't get the deck yet. It will be out. So I'm going to throw a card party when I get them finished. So hold on one second. Let me just show you. There it is. So this is one of my cards.
Hold on. Okay, there it is. It's coming up now.
Yep, that's one. Oh, so wow. I drew this raven. And then I added the graphics. And so it says, release that which no longer serves you. Let go of sadness and grief and watch as you magically soar to new heights, right? There are all of these different cards that apply to life. So let me see. Where's one of my favorites? I have a lot of this. These are like my babies. It took me a while to put these things together, but let me see. And because I love them, I'll be like, oh shit, I don't know what I need to do. So like, but this one. So I'll share application window. That one.
Let's see. Oh, wow.
So if you get this card, it's inner child work, right? And it says the little one inside of you is waiting. It's time to face those childhood fears, heal, and feel safe. Most of us are adults, aren't doing our work because we haven't healed our inner child. We haven't gone back and fixed the issues that someone else taught us, that someone else gave us, some agreement that we made with somebody else about what life is supposed to be or about who we are. So it's a 44 card deck, and all of these are originals. I literally could pull out my sketch pads and show you I drew all of these and then designed all of them and then wrote the books that go with them. Wow. But with every book, every card that you pull, in the explanation, I give you a practical application. So how can you put it into practice? What are things that you can do? And then I give you stones or oils that you can put in your life
Mhm.
that will help you with that practice. It's the same reason I have my bracelets on my Etsy site, right? Because I believe that God gave us everything we need, right? So that means our herbs, our crystals, everything is energy around us, right?
Yeah.
The reason it takes so long for us to naturally heal is because we put so much unnatural shit in our bodies, right?
That's right.
So the healing takes longer. So then what do? We find an unnatural way to heal, but we never fix the original problem, which is what we put into our body to start with.
Yeah.
So I want to give people oils, plants, crystals, and things like that that you can apply in your everyday life as part of your practice. But it's a meditation and mindfulness deck. It's just about being mindful of our connection to each other and everything around us. So that's
So
one
two
thing.
things, two things. The first thing I want to ask you is, will you come back and do a release here on my show? That's
Yeah.
the first thing, right? We set that up whenever. But so you do have a website where they can purchase some of your things, books, and that you have now,
Yeah.
right?
So the books are on. Tiffany asked, "What do the crystals do?" I'll help you out. So the books are on Amazon, and the first book is The Rantings of Dani. I wrote that one. Y'all don't judge me, because let me just tell y'all this.
I have that one.
He said, "I have that one." So I wrote that. I write my life and where I am. Like I was always who I was, but I hadn't healed enough to be her. So like, if this makes sense, you guys, you are who you are. Everything you are and are ever going to be is already in you. What happens is that we look at, when you're born and you're a baby, you don't know who you are. So you look to the people around you to tell you, and your parents do, and your teachers do, right? Well, that's my funny child. That's my responsible child. That's my troublemaking child. That's my class clown. And when you go, oh, that's who I'm supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, our babies take on those behaviors and thought patterns to fulfill who we tell them they are. Most of us are who life made us, just who we wound up being. Very few people ever truly create themselves, but you have a say in who you are. And who do you desire for that to be, you know? And I used to desire to cuss your ass out and be done and keep it moving and whatever. Like I used to desire that. Why? Because it was the quickest way and most assured way to know I would remain safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like that's it. But if I want to get back to who I was originally created to be, that clean slate, before anyone ever hurt me, anybody ever disappointed me, anybody ever left me, anybody ever lied to me, like who was she? Who was she? And then manifest from that place, then you become super damn powerful, right? And so that's the journey to me that I'm on. Right, Kendra, you have a say in who you are, and you have a say every day. I don't give a damn who you were yesterday or before you got on this podcast. Like literally today, when people be like, Dani, you changed. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. That was the intent, right? Because I used to be crazy as hell. I could have been in Waiting to Exhale, Left Eye and I could have been twins sitting outside some nigga's house while it burnt to the ground. Like that could have been me. That could have been me. And if one or two of my exes see this, they'll be like, yeah, that was her. But you have to, so you know what changed for me, Ja? So when I got divorced, that's what my second book is about. The second book is about From Your Lips to God's Ears. And I used to say that all the time to people because people would say, oh, I could see you doing this and I could see you on Oprah and I could see this. And I used to always say From Your Lips to God's Ears because I didn't believe that God loved me enough or that God would honor me enough for him to hear me say that. So if I asked God for it, I would say From Your Lips to God's Ears, because God surely don't want to hear from me, right? And that was partially because, like, when I got divorced, even though my husband had an affair, I just knew God was so disappointed in me, whatever. And so for me, the journey became about healing and wholeness for me. Mm-hmm. So when I got divorced, I knew I never wanted to feel that level of pain and hurt again. So what I did to ensure that was, then don't love. Don't love and don't be loved. And then you're safe. And Dasan and I used to talk about this all the time. He would say, but sis, you're missing out. And I was like, listen, I have loved and been loved. I'm good. Got the t-shirt. I know what that feels like. I'm good. If I don't have it anymore for the rest of my existence, I'm good. And he'd be like, you don't mean that. And I was like, no, yeah, I mean that. Right. And then the second go around in 2013, when Jason and I ended things, I was like, okay, so I don't ever want to do this again. And I want to do love. So that means I need to figure out what's going on with me that makes me choose the people that I'm choosing to love. What is making me love the way that I love? What makes me think that this is what love looks like? Because I have a say in that too. I get to say what love is and what love isn't for me. It can be whatever it is for you, but I get to say. And so that started my journey, right? So I read the 4 Agreements. I would recommend everybody read the 4 Agreements. I read Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. And it did. Those 2 books were foundational in my shift and in my change. So you got to find what works for you. And it's different for everybody else. It's different. And so, just be okay with what your choices are. So far as crystals, she asked me about that because I know we're running out of time. So crystals are like everything else. So I have energy and Ja has energy, right? And what Ja can give to you and provide you with, first of all, you have to be willing to receive it, right? And second, like it's just there. You get to choose whether you participate or not. And so every stone gives off its own vibrational energy, right? It has its own minerals and things like that in it. So depending upon what the stones are, it depends upon how they impact you. So like I could pull up I have a book that I reference all the time. So like I have a bracelet that I make for grounding, getting grounded and getting centered. I have a bracelet for anxiety relief, for depression relief. I have a bracelet that I make for love and heart healing. So it's on my Etsy site. The Etsy store is Intrinsic Connections. Because I think
because there's no way I'm gonna be able to spell that.
Oh, you were hilarious. So I don't know. Can I pop something in the chat? No.
If you're on YouTube or Facebook, if you do on YouTube, I can pin it and it'll stay up.
Okay, so let me do this.
Yes, because I'll be sitting here all day and
you are hilarious. Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be easier if I grab it from here. So while I get that, if anybody has any other questions, or Ja, you have any other question for me?
So my only questions are, which I always love to ask these questions, right? Okay. Since you do a lot of road tripping, what's your go-to music? Yeah.
My go-to music is I do a lot of African and Afro beats is normally my go-to music because I like happy music. And that, yes, Marissa, the Mastery of Love is good too. She threw that in there and I was like, yes, girl, we can talk about the kitchen, the magic kitchen if you want to. But yeah, so African music is my happy place. I love, everybody knows DeVito now, but I loved him before everybody knew him. I love Eddie Kenzo, and techno, flavor, just a lot of, that's my go-to. But I love all kinds of music, but there are some music that I enjoy, but I stay away from now because, okay, not to take anything away from anybody, right? But I don't want to be sad as fuck. So I don't do a lot of Adele. I don't do a lot of John Legend and Alicia Keys. I do a few things here and there because I don't want to go, like, I'll give you an example. My oldest daughter, when Beyonce came out with, come on, y'all, where she's wearing the yellow with the baseball bat.
Lemonade.
Which one?
The Lemonade thing?
Yes. When Beyonce came out with Lemonade, my oldest daughter was like, Mom, this reminds me of you. And it did, but it was the old me. I literally had to catch myself. I was in the gym working out with some Beyonce, like just getting it right. I ain't sorry. I was. And then I was like, wait a minute. Beyonce got me mad about shit I don't even care about no more. Like, we have to be careful what we put into us, because you'll find yourself picking up the energy from that music.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be mad. I'm not busting out nobody's windows. I'm not doing that. Listen, if I am very aware. I tell people all the time, I believe we're all crazy, right? I believe we all have the capacity for lots of crazy. That's why people are like, I never knew that Dennis, the deacon next door with them 3 kids, I never knew he was kidnapping girls and torturing them and binding them and raping them. Like, he was just a nice old boy. Yeah. Listen, we all have the capacity for crazy. So this is what I tell people is get to know your crazy. Fall in love with your crazy and understand that you developed your crazy to benefit you. Right? So listen, as crazy as I've ever been, the shit that people think I should probably be ashamed of or sorry for, I may be sorry about the impact that it caused other people, but I'm not shameful of like the craziest parts of me or the meanest part, because guess what? I created those parts of me to protect me, to help me, to serve me. Mm-hmm. Now it's my job. Now that I'm growing and evolving as a person, then it's my job to go back. And because like I name my crazy parts, y'all. I name all the parts of me. So like my crazy girl is Kay. And so if something happens and I feel like extreme pain and I feel that crazy, it's almost like she knocks at my door and be like, hey girl, you need me? I'm available, right? And I could be like, you know what? I am so glad to know you are still there if I need you. But I've developed other healthy tools and processes to get me through this. So I don't need the crazy. So go on, fix your ass another glass of tea and sit back down. You are retired. I have retired the crazy, right? And I don't allow people to bring the crazy out of retirement because I have a say in who I am.
That's right.
And I no longer choose to be her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? So it's funny that you mentioned Lemonade, because when Lemonade, my daughter said, Daddy, look, Beyonce's got this thing out. And I'm not a Beyonce fan, although she's a great artist, but I'm not a fan.
I'm the same way.
Lemonade came on, my daughter's playing it, and I sat down and I started a book called Love Chronicles. Mm-hmm. Just poems that make you want to scratch your eyeballs out. And I've not been able to finish that book because I don't listen to fucking Lemonade no more. So I'm sitting on this book since Lemonade came out. I don't remember how many years ago that was, but since it came out, and I go back to try to finish it, and I can't because I'm not in that space, and I don't want to take my energy. I just don't.
Right.
So I'm trying to clean it up with the good love poems on the back side, but then I go back to this shit, and I'm like, nah. Close it up.
And so, you might want to say, okay, so how can I marry these worlds? So like one of the things, so what I'm doing now is I'm working on a volume 2 for the Rantings of Dani, right? Wow. And so what I've literally started doing was, because I'm in such a different place in terms of my perspective, is so I've taken the original piece that's in the book and then written it from today's perspective. Wow. So like Seasons in a Journey is called something different, but it's the similar path in the second book. Okay. And then the book that's coming out next month is called Talk to Yourself. Because here's what I believe, and you don't have to believe this with me, y'all. It's cool. But so this is my belief system. I believe that everything that I ever need in this life is already inside me, right? And we just put distance between us and that as we grow through life experiences, just trying to survive. It's human nature. And I believe that my higher self already knows those things, right? I just got to get to her. So if I believe that, if my higher self talks to me every day and my higher self reminds me of who I am, not who I am, but who I am, right? Yes. Then that's Pastor Will from Shades of Grace. He runs the homeless thing, and I'll get with him right after this. If he's reaching me, it's somebody that might need my help, which is why you see me going like, oh, I want to answer it, but I'm on here, so I'm not.
We're almost done. We're almost done. We're coming to the close.
Yeah. So, okay. So where's my journals? Anyway, so here's what I do every morning, almost every morning. I open my journal and I write to myself and I'll say, today I am. And then I don't think, I just allow the words to flow. Like I just allow myself to be a conduit from my higher self to me, like from the divine. Like if God were talking to me every day, who would I be reminded that I am? And so, let me grab this real quick and then we'll go. So hold on. So I do this because I'm being led to do this, Josh. So that's why I got to do it.
No problem. No problem.
So whenever I'm guided to do something, I just do it. Okay. So like, see these little Post-it notes. So I've started going through here and I've started picking the ones that when I go back and read them now, they're impactful. And so the book will be photocopies of my actual journey, but with a brief little chapter and explanation of a practical application of that and how it shows up in your life. But so like if I just flip it to a page, right? This is September 8th, 2018. Today I am solid. I am unshakable, steady. Only movement is the slight rock back and forth, the swaying comfort of God's love. It's the only motion in me, comforting, confirming, supporting. I am exactly who I was designed to be, and I am continuously growing. I am unshakable. I am unexpressible joy and untold happiness. I am whole. I am healing. I am love. And so every day I talk about, like I talk to myself, what happens? Who do you become if every day you talk to yourself like this? Who do you become? Yeah. Whoever you say you are.
That's right.
From a divine perspective.
Wow. That's just magic. That is just beautiful. That is just beautiful. I knew we would not have enough time for everything. I knew. But I also knew because I can always bring you back at another time. Yeah. Listen, we got about 3 minutes left. If there's anything you want to leave them with, we've got about 3 minutes left before we wrap up. Here's your time to leave them with whatever's on your heart.
Good Lord. If somebody else, you know what, Tiffany, y'all gonna quit calling me honey boo boo. I don't even watch no damn Empire. Everybody says I remind them of honey. I get it all the time.
I don't even know what that is. So
it's
I don't
Empire, the movie. Honey Boo Boo is some light-skinned girl. I tell everybody, all light-skinned people do not look alike. Just because I'm light-skinned with short hair, I am not Honey Boo Boo. I think for me, if I would just say, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. If you don't know that everything that's happening in the world is impacting you, it absolutely is. Mm-hmm. Like when I was in the military and I was stationed in Alaska, and it's dark there for like 6 to 8 months, right? Mm-hmm. When you're in the dark, you don't realize the impact that the darkness is having on you.
Wow.
But the darkness is not your enemy, right? Where do seeds grow? In the dark.
Yeah.
You see the blooms up top, but all the growth is taking place in the dark, in the dirt, right? So what I would say to you is if you feel like you are in the dark or in the dirt, right? Just know that you're growing. Start looking for seeds. Give yourself some water. Be patient. Give yourself grace. I was stationed in Fort Greely, Alaska. Itty bitty town. I was 8 hours from Fairbanks, 8 hours from Anchorage, 90 miles from Fairbanks. So, and then I'll leave you with this. If there's anything in this
we got less than a minute.
Okay. If there's anything that you want to do, anything, and you think that you can't, I want to do this, but I want you to change the word but to and. Yeah. I want to do this and this exists, because now you've created possibilities and ways to accomplish it. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And so listen, y'all know what it is. We're going to bring her back on another time. Thank y'all for tuning in. As I tell you every day, I challenge you to be a better you today than you was yesterday. You have everything you need to deserve and achieve the love that you are looking for and the love that you deserve. Work hard for that and allow this world to see how you love yourself so they can learn how to love you. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll get you connected with Dani Cook. You can Google her. You can find her anywhere. Talk to y'all tomorrow morning, same time. Well, Monday morning. Peace.